up, you guys? Welcome back for another Cozy Earth sponsored End in Mind episode. And we are still on our Unspoken marketing secrets for you all that are just tuning in. We had 2 episodes already come out. Great topics all about marketing and some of the nuances that you may have never thought about or really want to learn more about, but a lot of people in this space just don't share on. So, super excited to get in today's topic where I just want to talk about marketing overall and why social media marketing is one of the most important tools in today's society. A lot of people will say, well, duh, that's not really like an unspoken secret. But social media marketing is one of those areas where I get a lot of questions nowadays where people will say things like, like, does it even make sense for me to be on social media because there's so many people on there and it's so loud? Should I be like carving out my own way of marketing, or is it even worth my time to be posting on social? And I think that this is so sad because it's almost like, to me, as working in this space, that some people don't perceive themselves or maybe perceive their product to be as competitive or good enough to be on some of these platforms. That may not be their perspective, but that's what I hear a lot when business owners say things like that to me and they ask me those specific questions. So the answer is social media is always a great way to connect with clients. I have clients that have literally 100 Instagram followers, and they still get clients from social media. No one is saying that you need to be at 100,000 followers or building your account like out the wazoo and that be your only focus for marketing. That is not what I believe in, okay? When you are working in marketing, you have to be marketing in so many different areas, okay? Even myself, I'm a social media manager. I don't just market on social. I do email marketing. I'm outside networking. I go to speaking engagements. I do my podcast. I do other podcast interviews. You have to be willing to put yourself out there when it comes to marketing, and it doesn't only have to be on social media. So if I have clients that are intuitively resisting marketing as a whole, but like most of the time specifically on social media, a lot of the times, again, that's just kind of telling me like maybe they're not ready to share their real lives online or really share what it's like behind the scenes, right? Or some of their own beliefs and values. A lot of people will also say, I don't want to be the face of the brand. And what we're seeing in today's society is that people are craving human to human connection. They want to know where their dollars and cents are going, and they want to help small business owners. They really do. They want to be conscious purchasers, like especially the younger generation that is on social media, whether that be TikTok, even some Facebook now. Facebook is popping off recently for marketing, organic marketing, I should say, and Instagram too, okay? And of course, other platforms like X and all of these other, LinkedIn, even all of these other social platforms, Pinterest, they are still very, very useful. And if brands don't want to develop their social media, most of the time that's like somewhat of a red flag to me as a marketer, because that's just them missing out on potential opportunities. So the reason why social media is called social media is because you have to be social on it. So many people that I work with in my sphere will just post and pray, right? They'll post and pray, hope that it finds the right person. At least I got the post out that day. And yes, that is an accomplishment, okay? Especially when you're doing this on your own. Like, one day a post is an accomplishment. It's a lot of work. It's not light work to be doing social media. And with that being said, you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. So I recently was doing an interview with Grace. Actually, you guys should check out her interview if you haven't yet, or if it's coming out next. She's really great, and she was talking about revenue generating activities. This is something I've talked about a lot on the show over the years, and it's very important to make sure that you are focusing on revenue generating activities probably 5 days a week when you're especially building your business. You absolutely have to. When I had to take a few months off, when my mom got sick and I wasn't able to lead generate, it takes weeks to come back from a situation like that. Some businesses can operate like that. Some businesses grow to operate where they only need to really lead generate 6 months out of the year. Like, it all depends on your business, but most businesses that operate month to month, quarter to quarter, you need to be marketing all the time, because the best way to create a really fire pipeline, depending on your business goals, of course, is to always be lead genning. Like, it's not a fad. That's just the truth. Like, that's just literally what it takes to build a strong, profitable business, because clients come and go all the time. Of course, like, when it comes to our priority level, our clients come first, then lead genning. Because if I'm not doing what my clients need me to do that day, then why should I move on to lead genning? Because I need to keep my current clients happy. Then I'm on to lead genning. And most of the time I'm spending 20, 30, 40, sometimes an hour on lead genning 5 days a week. When I consider lead genning, right, that may be podcast interview that day that's on somebody else's show. Could be me recording this podcast today as well. This is a form of lead generation. Could be me out networking once a week. That's only 1 hour. So then I come back home. Then the next day I do all the follow-ups, right? And I set the calls up. Then if I'm doing a one-off networking call, most of the time I consider that lead generation, because I'm gaining access to their entire network, and that's how you start to build out referral networks. So you just have to know how to strategically build out your time and how to look at lead generating activities that maybe you weren't thinking about before were lead generation. And then how do you do that 5 days a week or 4 days a week? Some businesses, sometimes Meraki only needs it 2 days a week, because we have such a strong pipeline that we've built up over years. So most of the time, as you kind of get it going, right, then you just get leads coming in, and then you learn how to manage them. You learn how to say, okay, this person said November, so we still need somebody to sign on a little bit sooner, right, to hit our projection margins for that year or that month. This is what makes sense. This is why we're networking face to face, because we build stronger relationships there right off the bat. Or this is why we're doing LinkedIn outreach or Instagram outreach every day. And that is exactly why we have built this into our marketing packages here at Meraki over the years, okay? So that campaign that I mentioned on our last episode where we talked about influencer marketing, a lot of the reason why that campaign was also successful wasn't because we just relied on the influencer to help us reach our target market. It was because for 3 months prior, we were direct messaging people directly that were target markets of this campaign and started to put the feelers out. Okay, we started to let them know, like, hey, this is coming. Would love for you to be a part of it if it feels aligned for you. Doesn't have to be pushy, just has to be like, hey, I saw that you follow our account, thought that you would be interested about this. Especially if you have an account that size already, it's a lot easier to already reach out to people. They had 18,000 followers. Then we went to 500,000. So as you can see, the audience was already pretty large. Okay, so looking at like the numbers and the data, like what actually makes sense to be a potential outcome of this, like what actually in your mind feels like, okay, this conversion makes sense. This is what needs to happen in order to get me to my goal. So same type of example, when you are just building your company, maybe reaching out to 3 to 5 people a day feels a lot. That may feel like a lot in the beginning when you're reaching out to people. Could be on LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever. And really at the start, you're just asking to build a relationship. You're not selling them, okay? You're not just going in and saying like, here's my offer. I actually help train teams on this all the time, because a lot of people in marketing feel a lot of pressure to create ROI, which is return on investment for business owners or CEOs or their boss, right? Is like, why are you not producing? And then they kind of get into this scarcity mindset, which we've talked about a lot on the End in Mind, which actually ends up coming out in their messaging, and it can really repel people because indirectly they're like, hey, let's hop on a call, and you haven't even connected with the person on LinkedIn at first, right? Like one step at a time. And that's why the relationship building and a lot of what we talked about in the storytelling episode of this series, the first episode, you guys may want to go back and listen to, because that is how you start to like plant the seeds, right? To then build up to a potential connection. Because as you guys have heard me say many times on this show, in the past, when I used to reach out to people like years ago on Instagram, which I still do. I still lead generate all the time. It's very important for business owners to do that. And I had a business owner that followed me, and she didn't hire me until 3 years later, you know? So sometimes your lead generating activity is what's going to fuel your business months and years to come. And that's why you want to keep it going on a rotation almost every day, 5 days a week, because it ends up eventually coming back to you. But you've been already planting the seeds at other places that all of the leads just start to continue to come in. And those relationships start to build over time. And that's what creates a really prosperous lead generation activity for your business. And that's what's worth spending time on, because you're actually getting something out of it. So that's just another, again, example of how being in business and being in marketing comes with all of these plates, right? That you kind of have to like spin, almost like you used to see them do at the carnival, where you're spinning a bunch of plates, you're managing a bunch of tops, and that's just for marketing. That's not for product development, client relations, right? All of the team members that you're managing, that doesn't even touch that. That's just marketing. That's just lead generation. And that's not even your sales process, to be honest with you either. So this is why I believe in outsourcing marketing. This is not something that one person can figure out on their own, especially if you are currently working at a company that has been doing the same marketing for years and all of a sudden it stopped working. I actually just talked with a potential client about this a few weeks ago, and he was looking for like high ticket salespeople. And we got on a call and I asked him, like, why are you looking to hire in this? And he was like, actually, because all of our Facebook ads stopped working, like out of the blue. And now I have no way of like really getting people in. So I figured a salesperson would fix that. And I was like, that's really interesting, because to me, it sounds like your pipeline isn't even filled for the salesperson, right? So that's really like where a marketing issue stands. And that's why having someone come in as an outside assistant consultant, if you do currently have a team, is very helpful to bring in fresh and new ideas, or outsourcing it entirely to a social media management agency if you don't have a team is a necessity for business owners today. Because within our packages, like I said, we're doing all of that outreach anyway. So we're helping our business owners build their business. And that is why I'm so incredibly passionate about what we do at Meraki, because it is a necessity for business. It's not something that, oh, maybe I should invest in marketing. And again, the reason why businesses fail is because they cut marketing first. They do it every time because they think that it's such a high investment, but that is really where they're getting the most amount of ROI, and it's what's building their lead generation for months, like I just mentioned, sometimes years to come. So if you feel like you haven't gotten this down, or you know people that need support, reach out to me. I'm happy to have, like, again, a casual conversation. We can talk through all of these options. I actually coach and consult current business owners on this, and they've had some really great results. I mean, landing a very high paying client from a networking group that we attended together, or relationships that I was able to connect them with, and that has just snowballed, right? And also just encouraging them to get out there, right, and share what their services are and feel excited and energized. And they may not believe in themselves at the beginning, but the more and more experience that they have, the more and more they feel like they can grow and share on. Okay, so a lot of this is about also like having somebody in your corner that knows marketing and that can share really exciting, fun ideas with you, that can also be like your confidant in business. Okay, so love you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed this episode, sponsored by Cozy Earth. Literally the most comfiest pajamas I've ever put on my body. They're like butter soft. They're great. Highly recommend for Christmas presents, or even in whatever holiday you celebrate, right? Could be for Hanukkah, all of the different holidays out there, whatever you may celebrate, or just to buy for yourself, because honestly, this 40% off code is so good. It's stackable on the website. So even if you get like other codes, I'm pretty sure you can stack them on top of each other. So get all of the percentages off and really enjoy your Cozy Earth sets, or also the sheets that Bailey has loved so much. If you guys did not catch it, I think it was episode 1 where she was literally climbing up to get on this pillow. That's how much she loves these sheets. So love you guys. See you soon.